guys, and welcome back to my podcast where we talk about all things weight loss. On this specific episode, I had Briana. She is 5 weeks post-op of getting the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, and she's already like 30 something pounds down. We got into some really deep conversations. We talked about her diabetes and how that was her turning moment in her life on the decision of actually getting surgery. We talked about her anxiety, and she was so open about it, and I'm so thankful because I know many people struggle with anxiety, and I've had many messages about dealing with anxiety, especially after VSG. So she's really open on that topic, and how she's going through therapy and how that helps her on a daily basis. We focus a lot on mental health, which I feel is such an important topic when it comes to losing weight and getting weight loss surgery. And so much more. If you guys haven't, please download the Anchor app where you can listen to this podcast form as a podcast form, or you guys can watch it here on YouTube. So if you guys are interested, then please keep on watching. Are you excited?
Yes, I am super excited.
I'm super excited too. Okay, so let's just start. Share a little bit about yourself, whatever you want to share with anyone that's listening.
Well, my name is Briana. I am 24 years old. I had my VSG surgery September 3rd of this year.
Wow.
I'm 5'4". My highest recorded weight was 277. Honestly, I'm sure it got up there. I avoided the scale like it was nobody's business.
Me too. Oh my gosh.
So I'm sure it got higher, but the highest recorded is 277. At surgery, I was 256. And currently I am 224.
Wow. And I know we were talking about before we started recording, but you say you're feeling amazing 5 weeks post-op and you're feeling good?
Yes, I'm 5 weeks post-op and I feel amazing. Like I haven't felt this way in a long time.
Aww.
Just because the main reason that I got this surgery was because of my diabetes. I was 2 years ago, I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes.
Oh, wow.
And that honestly changed everything for me. Like I have always been overweight. It has never been a moment in my life where I've ever been thin or at all. So once I got diagnosed with diabetes in the beginning, I was like, I'm gonna diabetes is bad, but I can maintain it. I can control it on my own. Like it'll be no issue. But once it got uncontrolled and it wouldn't go down no matter how much I did, that was my breaking point because my organs, my internal organs, like my kidneys and my liver were not working properly.
Wow. So, that's intense. Is diabetes, does it run in your family, if you don't mind me asking?
Definitely. It's something, honestly, whenever I was I knew I was always gonna get it, which is like really sad for me to even say it out loud, because I always said I'm gonna get it, but it's probably gonna be like in my 50s or 40s, like I'll be fine. But once at 22, I was heartbroken because I was like, well, I mean, it's fine, it'll be okay. But once I got to the bad parts of diabetes, once I got to the parts of like it was really affecting my health. Like I couldn't go out because I was always scared of like, man, if my sugar goes down, like what am I gonna do? Or like, oh, if I go eat out somewhere, sometimes my vision would get blurry because of my diabetes, and it sucked. Sometimes I had to like think and I had to really concentrate, and I couldn't. So it was really affecting me in my everyday things, so yeah.
So before and thank you for sharing that. That's like super personal, but that's why I love doing these because everyone has a different story. You know what I mean? Like I was pre-diabetic. There's no one in my family that has diabetes, and I've shared it before. Like me and my sister are the only ones in my family that have struggled with weight. Everyone, like our parents are normal, our grandparents, our cousins, our aunts, like everyone is a normal weight. And I felt like I was the start of like being overweight, and they would always tell me, like, if you continue, you will be diabetic. Like, you can, just because it's not in your family, you can be the start of it. You know what I mean? And I was pre-diabetic right before surgery. And he told me, if you weren't getting surgery, you definitely would be getting on medicine for diabetes. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, that's crazy. So with you, you found out at what age that you had diabetes?
22 years old. Yeah, I was 22. I had just gotten married. It was literally within my first year of marriage. And I remember, like, whenever I honestly had a feeling, because I honestly had a feeling that I had diabetes, because I was insulin resistant, like, I all over my neck, like underneath, like, my boobs.
Yeah.
It was like around my neck, I had like dark spots.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna ask. Yeah, okay.
I was also insulin resistant, like underneath my armpits. I also had, like, you know, the dark spots, and not only that, but I also have PCOS. Okay. And with that, I was diagnosed super young with polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Yeah.
And also with hidradenitis suppurativa.
What is that? My sister has PCOS, so we've learned more about it. She got diagnosed a couple years ago. But what was the last one that you said?
It's called hidradenitis suppurativa. Hidradenitis suppurativa is basically, they're boils. They're painful boils that grow on in the middle of your thighs. Mine were in my thighs. Mine were on my armpits, more than anything, my armpits. And
like, that's super painful, huh?
They're super painful. And with having hidradenitis suppurativa, yeah, there's medication to give you or whatever, so that you can get controlled.
Yeah.
But it's super harsh on your kidneys. It's super harsh. And it not only that, but it's so expensive. Like, it was just very expensive to maintain everything. So I remember whenever they diagnosed me with all of that, I was like, I still was like, okay, that's fine. I'll just, you know, I'll keep trying to run. I'll keep trying to, like, do my own thing. But my breaking point, honestly, was diabetes. Diabetes, like, really opened up my eyes, because I didn't think that, I have always heard of diabetes, like, you know, it's a horrible thing to have. Yeah. But once you're, like, actually going through things, once you're having to go to the hospital because, you know, man, I don't feel good, or having to go to the doctor, I don't feel good, or my medication's not working, or you wake up super sweaty like me. Like, I would wake up at crazy times at night and I would be sweating because my sugar dropped, and I had to, like, scurry to my fridge because, well, you know, I need orange juice, I need something, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's crazy. And I'm so, and this is the thing too, and I'm not really educated on it. What did your bariatric doctor say? Like, okay, I've heard two things. Diabetes, can it go away, or is it something you're always going to maintain regardless of your weight loss?
So basically with diabetes, once you have it, you're always going to have it. Okay. However, you can get into, I guess, remission, or basically it won't be bad. Like, for example, I'm off of all of my diabetes medications
already.
Like, I am off all of my diabetes medications.
That's so exciting. 5 weeks. That's so exciting.
Yeah, like my A1C, like, I just got it checked a couple of days ago, and it was 5.5, which is not in the pre-diabetic range anymore, and not in the diabetic range anymore.
That's insane. And did they tell you, because I know with me, they told me that because you got the sleeve, right?
Yes, I got the sleeve.
Okay, so because I remember them saying something about the bypass. A lot of people that have diabetes will get the bypass just because of the way, and I don't know if you've heard of it, but just the way, you know how it's rerouting with the bypass? They said something about that. It's, I don't know, it helps more with diabetes in the sleeve. Did they mention anything like that?
My surgeon did mention that. However, I did tell him, like, personally, like, I understand, you know, yeah, it's a lot better, but yeah, I would rather take this route first. And I mean, there's always revisions. You know, if I have to do it, okay, I'll do it. But I really wanted to try the sleeve before I go that drastic.
Yeah.
Just because it is rewiring of your intestines. And
I know, that's how I felt too. And I'm really sensitive about it because I've had, I have a lot of people that have gotten the bypass on my podcast and stuff. And like, it's not even like, and I want to know, like, why is it that you chose that, whatever. But like with my story, I mean, it kind of seems like it's similar for you. I always, when I thought of weight loss surgery, I thought the bypass was so intense. And to me, it was a scary thing to think that food was never going to go through your stomach again. That was intense for me. But I love to learn when I talk to other people because everyone has their own reasons, but that was my reasoning behind it. I was a little, I don't know,
Yeah, definitely. I felt the same way. So that's why I was like, you know what, if I have to get a revision, I'll just do it. But I'll try this route first. And so far, honestly, it's helped me so far. And I mean, I hope it continues to help me.
Yeah.
And I'm trying my hardest. I'm like,
you lost a lot. So wait, I'm really bad at math. So you were 256 and you're 222. So how much have you lost since surgery?
32 pounds, 31, 32 pounds.
That's really, really good. And then, so you're 277. Did you have to do pre-op classes and stuff or no? Yeah.
So I did my insurance required six months of the whole like weight loss classes.
Me too. Yeah. Did you have to go weekly or how did it work for you?
Monthly. I had to go monthly.
Okay.
Because of COVID, I actually was supposed to have it at the end of June, but because of COVID,
I know so many people that their surgery got pushed back so much. I'm glad everyone was able to get it now. Like,
that's the thing. Like, they did push mine back a couple times, and finally, in September, my surgeon was like, "No, like everything should be fine. We should be ready to go." So yeah, I had it done. I got tested there at the hospital for COVID. I was negative, and they were able to do it. But
was the test horrible? Because I got it done and it was horrible.
Honestly, I've had, because of work, like I work in healthcare.
Okay.
So because of work, I've had it done, I want to say a good 4 times.
Okay.
And it's been pretty like each time is horrible, but
you're like, whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, I got it twice. And like the first time I was like, wait a minute. But then it's like you don't want to move because they tell you don't move because then you can't, so it's just like a shock thing. But
yeah, it's horrible, but I mean, hey, if it has to be done.
So before your surgery, they had made you do the test. Then you said,
yeah, they're at the hospital because of COVID. Like, I couldn't have like my husband there. I couldn't have.
That's what I was gonna ask you. You weren't able to have anyone there?
No, I was not able to have anybody there. But you know what? Honestly, I was perfectly okay with it because I know myself, and I feel like if I would have had somebody there, I would have probably been a little bit more nervous. And I'm glad I didn't have anybody because I was able to just go in. I was perfectly fine with going into the surgery. And yeah, I was nervous, like, before the surgery.
Yeah.
But as far as everything goes, like I was mentally prepared. Definitely, I knew what I wanted, and I'm glad I got it. Definitely the best.
I know, because I think about it, like I'm such a baby, and I had my husband there, and like he stayed the night. I got so lucky because they told us he cannot stay the night if you have to share rooms, and this was last year, so way before COVID, right? And I was like, so who gets to decide if I share rooms? And they were like, it just depends if a room's available. Like that's just how it works. And then I remember, like, I told the nurse, I was really nauseous when I woke up, and we'll talk about that more, but like I was really, really nauseous the whole day. I was throwing up when I woke up, and I think they felt bad for me because I was like, he's gonna be able to stay, right? And then they moved me, so I was able to have him stay there. But I think about now with a lot of people that have, with the COVID and everything, I was like, I wouldn't have been able to like be a baby because I was so dramatic. But no, it was bad. When you woke up from surgery, did you get nauseous, or how was your experience waking up?
Right after I woke up from surgery, all I remember is that I was like in and out, and like my nurse was like, "Hey, wake up!"
Yeah.
And, as soon as I woke up, I just remember I'm just a nerd. I just say things sometimes that I'd probably say, but I remember telling her, "Am I skinny yet?"
That's so funny.
And she was like, no, but are you okay? Are you good? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. Like, I feel good. But as soon as I woke up, I did get nauseous. I was like, vomit bag. I need a vomit bag.
Yeah, that was me. It was so horrible. Yeah, and then I talked to other people that are like fine. Like, they just wake up.
Those people, like, I know I hear all the time, some people, you know, everybody has a different experience, but some people say like, oh yeah, like I was perfectly fine. I woke up, I walked. I'm like, I didn't do
that. I didn't walk the first day. They tried making me walk, and I was like, it's not happening today. I'm like, I didn't eat. Drinking water was like a mission for me. So I drank water, and like that was about it. Like I didn't eat. They were like, are you gonna try to walk? I'm like, no, I'll walk tomorrow. And they did listen to, and it was just because I was so nauseous. I was like, I'm not gonna walk and throw up in the hallway. And then I was getting so mad, like dinner time and stuff. I smelt the food through the vent. I remember it so clearly. I was like, are you kidding? Like I could smell it. And I was like, no, this can't be happening. It was so bad.
Yes, I totally agree with that, because whenever I woke up, they wanted me to start walking, and I got up, but I was honestly so like, I was out of it. So whenever I got up, I remember I just fell back into the bed, and they were like, oh, okay, you know what? Just stay there. Just stay there. And I was like, you know what? Okay, perfect. I'll just stay here. But I did feel nauseous the entire day. And they, because I wasn't getting up really, I was kind of in and out of sleeping, and when I was up, I wanted to vomit. That's literally it.
How was your gas pains? Did you have bad gas pains or no?
You know what? I did have it like I want to say the first day, but then the day after I was able to walk more, and I just walked, and because I felt it kind of in my shoulders, like here, they told me the only way to get it out is if you walk. So I was like, let's get it out.
I know. I was asking them, and they were like walking, and I was like, and then my husband's like, you need to walk. Like that's what they're telling you. And no, it's 100%. I say it all the time. So, you know, cause it's really bad, and I'm sure people get it worse than others, you know? And I remember mine being pretty bad, but walking was the only thing that made me feel better. That was literally the only thing.
Really?
But I was just stubborn. So it took me
a while. Yeah, no, same here, honestly. Like I feel like it was more of the walking that definitely helped.
Yeah. So your pre-op classes, you have to do 6 months, you said. Do you feel like they were helpful for you?
I did, because it did answer a lot of my questions that I had as far as like the surgery, because I did go in with kind of like a, not misconception, but I just of what I heard, you know, and what I saw on Instagram, and it was like, oh, yeah, like this is what I saw on YouTube. But they definitely help. They do help you. I feel with knowing what to eat, you know, what you should eat. This is a completely different lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So they did help me with everything, and they still continue to help me. They call me like every now and then just to check up on me, and I'm really fortunate to have like a good bariatric program. So
that's awesome. So now post-op, what are your like, do you see your doctor, or are you going to be seeing your doctor every month, or what does it look like now? Do you know?
I don't see, I just had my 5-week follow-up with him last week.
Okay.
And I won't be seeing him till December. So yeah, so he said that I'm doing really, really good, and he was really happy, especially with my A1C going down to 5.5 after having it up like up in the 7s, up in the 8s for like 2 years. I'm really happy to finally be in like a good range.
It just happens so fast, and like it's 30 pounds, like that's huge already. Yeah. You know, it's your body is just like kind of goes into shock, really, because they're like, what are you doing to me? You know, what stage are you at now with food?
I'm on the soft food stage, so I'm eating a lot of shredded chicken. I'm eating my plan allows me, because everybody's plans is different.
Yeah.
My plan allows me to eat like the cheese sticks. Applesauce has been like my saving grace. I've been able to eat quite a bit of things, but the restriction is definitely there, so I can only get like a couple bites in of certain things.
Isn't it crazy? Is it like the restriction? I remember at 5 weeks, man, like even just drinking something, I was like, oh my gosh, you know?
Yeah.
And it's so crazy, because people would ask me like to describe it, and I'm like, you literally feel like you ate like a Thanksgiving meal. Like you feel like you're gonna die. Like that's how I feel.
So as soon as I start feeling it, like kind of tighten my chest a little bit, I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm not pushing it.
It's crazy how your body's literally telling you stop, huh? Mm-hmm. Like it's there. It's so crazy, because people ask me that too. Like, how do you know? What do you feel? Like, I know you say you feel the restriction. I'm like, your body will talk to you. It will yell and be like, stop eating.
Wow. Yeah.
Have you pushed it? Like, have you ate a little bit too much and felt nauseous, sick or anything this early on, or not yet? I don't want to say not yet, but has it happened?
No, actually, like I honestly haven't, just because I'm scared. I'm like so scared to like mess up something or like end up back in the hospital. So I haven't really pushed it. I remember the first thing I ate, like whenever I was allowed to get food, which was like really like just shredded, like not shredded chicken, but really like grated up chicken. Like it was like so gross, really, but to me it tasted so good.
Oh yeah.
It was the first meal that I was able to have after having liquids for almost, like, I would say, a month.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Were you on liquids for a whole month, or when? Or
I was on the liquid diet for 2 weeks prior to the surgery. So literally, like after surgery, it was just liquids also. So it was about a month really of just liquids, and I was able to get that chicken in. And I remember as soon as I ate it, like I felt so nauseous. Like I was just like, I felt like I pushed it, but that was my first meal.
Yeah, your first meal. Yeah. I was liquid for 6 weeks because of my dehydration. I got dehydrated. Yeah, and I had to go back to the hospital. So I learned the hard way because it was my second week, and then he put me on the second stage, and I had a boiled egg, and it grossed me out. Like I eat egg now because we're like, do you not eat egg? I'm like, no, it took me a while. I think like I didn't try it again until I was like 10 months post-op. But like I'll eat egg, baby, like, on Sundays, like if we're making breakfast, I'll make it and I'll eat it. But no, I made a boiled egg as my first meal, and I didn't throw up. I just got really, really nauseous to the point where I didn't want to drink anything. And then 2 days of not really drinking, I got sent back to the hospital for 4 days. Oh, yeah, it was bad.
That was honestly probably my worst fear of like, because I was already like thinking, man, how much is the hospital bill gonna be? But so I was thinking like, man, like I really cannot, like, one, I can't afford to go back, and two, I just really don't want to be in the hospital.
Yeah, and it's something that you can avoid, to be real with you. Like with me, I was just being stubborn. Like my husband was like, you're not drinking, and I was like, I'm nauseous. And he was like, I get that, but they've told you how many times, like, you're going to be dehydrated. And I was being stubborn. And then as soon as I went into the doctor, like he saw me and my eyes were like yellowish and my tongue was white. And he was like, I would literally saw him for 5 seconds, and he was like, you're going back. And I was like, are you kidding? And he's like, no. And he's like, and I don't know how many days. And I was there for like 4 or 5 days because I had the IVs in, and like him monitoring me drinking, and he would come in and be like, how much did you drink? Like I was like, and then I learned, I really learned.
Honestly, like whenever I came back like from the hospital, my husband was like on me. Like I was so glad that he was.
It's that support system, really, Him
and my mom were literally like the two people that were on top of me about like, hey, liquids, like, did you already take this? Did you already take that? They were really on top of me about that. But and then sometimes I would think, these are so annoying. But honestly, I needed that because there did come a point where I was just not like, I just didn't feel hungry or I didn't feel thirsty. So I was like, I don't want to drink anything. I don't want to, and my husband was like, you need to, because if you don't, you're gonna go back. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try.
He's so right, because I remember being that early on and I wasn't hungry, and I had alarms like, and I will ask you right now, but like I used to eat, well, I still do. I eat every 3 hours. I've done that since the beginning of surgery, basically. And back then I wasn't hungry, but that meant like, if that alarm went off, it was like half of a cheese stick or like half of a yogurt or something. It was something, and now I'm able to eat a lot more. So like eating a protein bar, I can eat it so fast, and I have to tell myself like, slow down, but it just depends. Like I'm like, an example for me, yesterday I had a protein bar. Have you ever had it's the One brand protein bar?
I've had them.
So they're really good, but they're thicker versus, have you had the Power Crunch bars?
Yeah, those are so good.
Those are my favorite. But like the wafer ones aren't as heavy on my stomach. So like I can eat that like nothing. But the One bar, like I had a One bar yesterday and I had a One bar today. So yesterday in my snack, I ate the whole One bar, like nothing. Today on my drive home, I was only able to eat half.
And that's what I tell people. I'm like, your stomach, it's one day. It does. Sometimes you're like, what? I ate that yesterday, you know, but your stomach is literally telling you to stop. It's so weird. It's so weird. It's
exactly. Yeah, there are some days where I'm like, wow, like I was able to eat like the whole egg, and then like, for example, today, like I had scrambled eggs in the morning, and I was like, oh my god, I don't even want to eat it. Like I'm just not hungry, you know. But it's like I'm trying to get my protein in, you know. That's
yes. So do you eat every couple hours, or how is it looking like? What is it looking like right now? Like today, for example, what is it that you ate?
Right now I'm eating every 3 hours as well, every 2 to 3 hours. In the morning I had the scrambled eggs. Then 2 hours later I had like not even half of a peach. I had like just a couple of I think like 3 slices, and then I was
I'm gonna stop you really quick. What does your doctor say about fruit? Because I eat fruit. I'm just saying I eat fruit, but there's people that are like, you eat fruit? I'm like, yes, I do. Does your doctor say anything bad about fruit?
No, like my plan, honestly, it was very open to fruit. Like I was actually pretty surprised with sugar. But for the most part, like, yes, they allow me to eat fruit, but it's only like soft fruit. Like for example, peaches, like I can eat those because it's very soft. But I also, again, I don't push it, and it's like literally like 3 slices, 3 little slices.
You can't eat the whole peach. Okay, and I was saying that because some people are so against it, and I'm like, I've always eaten fruit. I'm not huge on fruit, but it's not been something that I was like, I can't eat, you know. I do.
Yeah, definitely. Like before, as a diabetic, my doctor was like, absolutely not. Like you're not having fruit. Fruit is filled with sugar. And honestly, I had probably more restrictions whenever I was diabetic than now, because, and that's honestly one of like the main reasons that I was able, the thought of me having the surgery was not as hard, because as a diabetic you have restrictions already. You can't eat what you want. So I thought, how is this any different? Like literally, how is this any different? Like, I'm gonna have restrictions, but at least I'm gonna be able to eat a couple more things than
so it's actually like you actually can eat more
now,
and then eventually more compared to what you were eating before. That's crazy.
So that's why whenever it came, like I remember my husband, whenever we were first talking about it, and I told him, hey, I want to do this, and he was like, why? Like, don't you want to eat this and that? And I'm like, no, this and that is what has me like this in the first place. And he was like, but there's so much restriction. I remember, but there is so much restriction as being a diabetic. So honestly, like, what more can I, like, this is my last chance, you know, like before, like trying, this is like my last option, and
this is like last resort. You've tried everything. Like that's what it is. And that's what I tell people, because there's people, and I'm like, talk to your doctor, but I have people that message me that are like 200 pounds, right? And I'm like, I'm not a doctor, but like I don't feel that, I mean, 200 pounds, it might be heavy, right? You might be 5 foot or whatever, but realistically, like I had someone that told me, she actually went to TJ to get it because her doctor actually told her, if you were to gain 15 pounds, we could do it. And she was like, I'm not going to gain more weight to be able to get the surgery. And in Mexico, they did it. They did do it for her.
But, well, of course, if you have the money in Mexico, they're of course they're going to do it.
Even if you're like 185, they're going to be like, okay, you want to be 140?
I understand that, like, completely, because I remember whenever I was going through the process, I might not look heavy. Like, I probably didn't look heavy, but because I carry most of my weight in my arms and like my thighs and stuff, my lower body, that's where I carry the most weight. And my face. But I remember like sometimes like whenever I would go to the classes, like my husband was like, you know, you're not that big, and I'm like, no, you're right. Like maybe it doesn't look that way, but internally, like my body's going through a lot, because honestly, like whenever I do see people that they're like, oh yeah, I'm like barely 200 pounds or like barely two something, I'm like, girl, you can really, really try, you know. If not, you know, you do you. But as far as like me, like I really did have like a lot going on, and maybe it didn't look like it to a lot of people, but I did, and that's the reason I got it. You know?
I know. It's so like I had people tell me like you're really not that big. And then I look at a picture of myself, I'm like, you're joking. Like you're literally joking. And people would tell me that, and I honestly think it was like more like a jealousy thing. Like I wish I could get it type of thing. Or, you know, it was always negative comments before. So that's why I kind of stopped telling people like, you know, just like where you work or like whatever. Everyone always has an opinion. And I just kind of stopped. And then now I'm open about it. And I always like, if someone asks me like, oh my gosh, what did you do? I'll tell them. I don't like go around it anymore. I don't care. People are going to have their opinion regardless, you know?
Exactly. That's what I
don't care.
Whenever I went public with it, like I remember my husband was kind of like, oh my God, you posted it on Instagram, you posted on social media. And I was like, yeah, because that's the truth. Like, yes, I got this surgery, and I'm not going to not lie, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say it was just diet and exercise, because it honestly, I had hope. And if this can help somebody that is thinking about getting it, but is afraid to get it, like, why not? Like, I had a lot of people that I know personally that I never knew that they had issues or, you know, health issues, that actually reached out to me. And I really appreciated that, because whenever they reached out to me, they told me, hey, like, I actually have this, I have that, and I'm actually thinking about getting it. Wow. Like, you know, this is why I went public, because one, I don't care who knows. Like, I'm fine and okay with anybody knowing that I had this surgery. But I also, like, if I can help somebody out through the process, why not, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that's how I was. Like, I'm a very like outgoing person and stuff, but I was also kind of like, do I want to share? Do I not? And then even with YouTube, like I didn't start it. I wanted to, and I really, really wish now that I would have started it since like the beginning. Like I don't have like, when I was in the hospital or like even after or whatever, I felt horrible. Like I wasn't even in the mood. And then I started it when I was 6 months. I was already 100 pounds down on my first video. And I looked at myself, and I posted it on January 1st, 2020. Like I made it a point to post it the first day. Even though this year has been not insane for everyone, but I really wanted to do that. And then I look at myself of a video and I'm like, I was already 100 pounds down. So I lost 40 more pounds. And I really feel like those 40 pounds is what really made the difference. Like, of course, the 100 pounds was huge. When I look at myself at 100 pounds, I was still, I was 204. I was still, you know, considered overweight. And now I'm 160, and it's crazy. Like, to be 160 literally blows my mind. I can't. There's days that I look at myself. It's just so weird. Like I look at myself right now. I'm looking at myself, and sometimes it throws me off because I'm just like, because it happens so fast. And I'm sure you're seeing that with you. I remember at 5 weeks. I literally remember myself at 5 weeks. I remember myself at 2 months, 3 months, and now it's so weird because now on Instagram and Facebook, my memories are popping up. Right? And it's like before and afters. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like I already was feeling amazing, you know, like you're feeling amazing, and it's just going to get better. It's going to get so much better. It's so crazy.
Honestly, I already feel it, and I'm so happy with like my decision. I definitely do not regret one single bit. I honestly regret not getting it. Like before I got married, I actually, my doctor, whenever I had Kaiser insurance, he recommended me to get it. And I chickened out because I was like, I didn't go through the process or anything. I just went to the first initial seminar, and I remember I was like, no, like I can do this on my own. And like, I can do this on my own. I don't need it. I will continue to do this. And if not, I'll go through it. And I remember I didn't do it, and I was like, man, I'm so dumb. Like now thinking, I'm like, I could have done it. I could have avoided everything.
Yeah, but I also feel it's like you have to be ready. Like you have to be, and you know, at that point you weren't, you know. I think about it all the time. Because you're how old did you say you are?
I'm 24.
Yeah, I'm 29, and it's crazy because I remember, like, and I say it in some of my videos, I remember I used to like not look down, but I was just, I would never get weight loss surgery.
Yeah.
What the heck? You know, like, I'm not doing that. And then I was asking my husband, like, did I ever bring it up to you? And he was like, you did once, like maybe when I was maybe 25, 26, I brought it up like once. And then he's like, and then you never brought it up again. So like, we never talked about it, you know? And then this last time I literally said, I made an appointment with my doctor. He was like, okay. And then we made an appointment, and then it just happened. You know, I just went through the classes and everything. But yeah, I was so like, I will never get it. Yeah. And now I'm like, and yeah, sometimes I wish like, man, if I would have got it way sooner, like, what would my life be, you know? But honestly, I'm like, going into my 30s, I'm going to feel way better than I was in my 20s. And there's people that get it, like like people in my class were like 70, 60, you know, because their health.
Yeah.
Really bad.
And it honestly makes such a big difference. Like, whenever I was going through the process, I remember I was kind of like, I remember I brought it up to my mom, and she was like, you don't need that. Like, you don't need that. Like, don't. And I was like, oh my God, like, okay, fine. I just won't talk to her about it. But I remember I started the process. I went to the first classes, and I remember I was like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm ready to do this. I'm done being in the hospital. I'm tired of paying all these copays and being broke because I can't, you know, like, I literally spend so much money on medication. And I was thinking like, okay, well, I'm going to start the process. And I told my husband about it maybe 2 months into the process. And he was like, wait a minute, you're doing this, you know?
Yeah.
But it wasn't because I was ashamed. It was just because I wanted to be sure that I was ready.
Because you might have changed your mind, and then you already told,
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember like still, I remember like whenever, even before the surgery, I was losing weight on my own. I was doing keto. I did a low carb diet, and I was able to lose like around 30 pounds around there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was even thinking still like, man, I can do this on my own. Like, I don't need this surgery. But then that's when I went with my doctor, like my regular physician. Yeah. And she was like, oh, ready to, you know, check your A1C. I was like, yeah, like it's going to be amazing. You watch, like, I lost 30 pounds, and I was thinking, I was so proud of myself because I lost that weight. But then whenever I got my, like, my labs done, I remember, yes, my diabetes went down, but it didn't go down a lot. And on top of that, she told me, I have good news and bad news. Yes, your A1C went great, you know, compared to what you had before, but also your kidneys got worse and your liver is not working the way it's supposed to. Wow. And she told me, if this continues to go on, you're only 24, before, like, by your 30s, mid 30s, you're probably going to have to be on dialysis. Oh, and whenever she said that, I remember walking to my car, and like, I just broke down in my car, and I was like, wow, this is like not at all how I expected this appointment to go, you know? And because I was thinking to myself, like, wow, like, I did great. Like, I was so excited, you know, I'm not even going to need this surgery. But then whenever she told me that, I was like, you know, really broke me. I was like, wow, like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm still doing the process. I'm going to do it. And I haven't looked back since. So
that's and see, I love that you share all that, because it's not just I don't think, I mean, it might be for someone, but I don't think it's just a quick, like, I'm going to do it. It's like a whole mind process, and you're like, you kind of go back and forth, like, yes or no, like, I did that, you did that, and I'm sure so many other people did it, you know? Until finally you're like, all right, it's happening. You know?
I remember even like whenever I sent you a message on Instagram, I DM'd you, and I was like, do you regret it? Like, I just need guidance at this point. Like, I need to like ask somebody that's had it. So I didn't think you would reply, but you did.
I try to reply to everyone, because I remember when I would reach out to people and like they wouldn't message me back, and I was like, dude, like, you know what I mean? Like, someone that was like a year out, or like even 6 months. When I was 1 month post-op, I was like trying to reach out to 6 month, you know, post-op, all of that. And then like people would say like, reach out if you need help, and then like they would never respond.
They would never respond.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it's just, it's so crazy. And I think about like how fast it all happens, you know, that it's like your mind's trying to catch up with everything.
It's definitely a mind game. Like, I really thought about that. And whenever I heard people say it, even before surgery, I would say it can't be that bad, right? But no, now that I'm in this position, I really understand when people say it's mental. A lot of this is mental because, like, for example, my husband, he's like, wow, like your clothes fit a lot looser and like you look so good. And in my mind, I'm like, I do see a difference. But like I don't think it's that big. And he's like, no, it's big. Like I can totally see, like, compared to how you were before. And if I see pictures, I'll be like, wow, that does not look like me, right? But whenever I just think of it by myself, I'm like, no, like my clothes still fit, I still,
I have my moment. I'm telling you, like, I'll be like laying in bed and like I'll wake up and I will feel like I'm 304 pounds. It's crazy. And it might be now because I have loose skin and like it's a whole other, now it's like a whole other thing. And I always try to remind myself, like, yes, Paulina, you have loose skin. Like, you lost so much weight and it's the next step. And some days I'm like, I want to have loose skin. And other days I'm like, no, I want to have babies first. And it just goes back and forth. Like, I don't have kids, so I always go back and forth on it. But some days, like, or some weeks, I won't shut up about it. I'll be like, my loose skin, and that's all I see. Because I remember when at 304 pounds, when I thought 160, it was like, I would be like, all my problems would be gone. And that's not the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally understand. I totally get you. Like, it like I said, it's definitely a mind game.
Absolutely. So your husband, I know you said that at first he was kind of like, what? Like, what do you, so how was he? I know you said, but then you said he was really supportive. So how was he when you first told him?
Whenever I first told him, he was kind of like, no, like, I still don't think, even going through the process, he's like, I still don't think you need that. I think you can do it on your own. And whenever I lost weight and he saw that, he was helping me lose weight during that,
does he, if you don't mind me asking, does he struggle with weight or no?
No, not at all. He's 6'3" and he's always been skinny. So whenever he would be like, no, like, you don't need it, in my head, and I would even tell him sometimes, like, you don't know what it's like to be the big kid. Like, you don't know what it's like to literally be overweight your entire life. Like, you think it's easy to lose weight because you lose weight easily. In my case, it's not like that. And he's like, but you lost 30 pounds. And I would be like, yeah, you're right, I lost 30 pounds, but I lost the weight in that time. But at the same time, it's like I struggle so much, like, with other things. It's not just losing the weight, it's also being good internally. Why would I want to lose weight but also have kidney failure? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of other factors in that. So yes, definitely there was a lot of back and forth, but in the very end, I told him, like, this is for me. Like, this is for me, and I'm gonna do it because I love myself. And I know it sounds so bad, but I'm like, it's self-love. It's, if I don't do it, nobody's gonna do it for me. And on top of that, it's like, I'm so young. Like, it's either you take me right now to go get this surgery, or take me later on to get one of my, fingers cut off, or one of my foot cut off, or to dialysis. Like, let's be realistic. Like, with diabetes and with being overweight, it's not just one problem that you have. It's other problems as well. It's literally the root and the cause of a lot of other diagnoses. And whenever I started feeling that and experiencing that, I thought, this is my last resort. This is it. I'm going to jump into it. And I know a lot of people around me, like, at first maybe didn't think it was the best decision, but now that they see me, especially my family, they're like, great. That's awesome. That's good.
I love that. And I say it in a lot of my podcasts, like, when you are the best version of yourself and you feel amazing and stuff, you're able to be like, the best wife, friend, sister, any title that you are. Like, it just happens naturally. And I feel, and I don't know like your personality fully, but when I look at things, like my husband, we always talk about it. Like, we used to fight so much over the stupidest things because I was uncomfortable.
Yes, I completely understand that, because like, even like I remember, especially like going out, like I remember one video that you did on YouTube, and I remember it so clearly because I was like, wow, that's exactly how I feel. Like, this is exactly how I feel, because you said that all your plans were revolved around like, where are we going to go eat? Where are we going to go? You know, literally everything I would do, I would be like, oh, I want to go eat. And if I got up late or something and I'd be hungry and I'd be like pissed and I'd be like, man, my sugar is like low, like I would already be in like a really bad place. And it's like, I mean, we wouldn't fight like, you know, a lot or anything like that. Thankfully, like he's so patient with me.
Yeah.
Like I tell him every time, I'm like, the reason why
it's just like setting, it's like you set the tone.
Yeah.
And like you said, like when I think about it, like, look, you got it at your age. I did it 5 more years. And I say, like, I got married, I was 18 and he was 19. So like, and we just celebrated 10 years. And I told him, like, it makes me sad sometimes when I think about it, where I'm like, we spent a whole decade living like that, like literally, like, what are we gonna eat? And like my husband, he was in the Marines, he was in the military and stuff, so but he's always struggled with his weight also, even when he was in, and it was something where we just didn't have good habits. We you know, I would wake up late and like I would be grumpy and like everything was around food, and then feeling uncomfortable. It's like now I can go to the beach and walk from the car all the way through the sand to the beach, and I'm like, I'm like, oh wow, like that was, you know, we walked, but I'm not like breathing and sweating and pissed off. I had to carry stuff, and before it was like, I'm not carrying anything, like you carry it, you know. I'm like just trying to focus on getting to the freaking water, like, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know what, like, I mean, us, because of quarantine, like obviously we haven't been able to experience a lot, but I already see the big change. Like I've been going out to walk almost every single morning. Whenever I come back, like I'm in a great mood. Like I love it. Like I love coming home and I'm like, well, I'm gonna shower now, and you know, and then later on I'm gonna watch some TV and, you know, wash clothes or whatever, but I'm in a great mood.
Your mind is not literally, it sounds so stupid, like, but everyone, like, you understand, like your mind is not like, I mean, yes, sometimes I'm like, oh, I want pizza, or oh, I want this, but before it was like everything. It was like in my head, like, oh my gosh, I couldn't think about, like, I couldn't sit and watch a show without eating 20,000 calories. Like
exactly,
it was like hand in hand. You know what I mean? And like everything, like I had a great day at work. Let's eat. I had a horrible day at work. Let's eat. I'm stressed out. Let's eat. Everything equals let's eat.
And exactly. And like also, honestly, like I didn't think about it until I was in like the classes, and I also was getting therapy, and I'm still getting therapy.
That's awesome.
It was more than anything like also like kind of, it was like a food addiction. Like I remember like my therapist telling me like, okay, when do you eat? And I'm like, I eat all the time. I always have something. And it's not, it's honestly not like I'm stressed, I eat. And not just that, but I eat like whenever I used to go to like a restaurant, it was the biggest of the biggest. Like I wanted jumbo.
Like I said it the other day, and it was so embarrassing. It was like I didn't want to waste a meal. I think it's my video that I just posted on Sunday. I didn't want to waste a meal. So like when my husband, he's really about like, let's try a new restaurant, or like, and I was like, no. Like I want the same pizza place. I want the same Mexican food place because I know that I like it. And if I get something that I don't like, I'm gonna be really mad. And like, that sounds ridiculous. When I say it out loud, it's like, oh my God, like, are you kidding? But that's what it was. Literally.
I totally understand. Like, I feel like I can keep up a lot more with my husband. My husband, like I said, he's always been pretty fit, and he's always been pretty, he's always been at a good weight. So whenever for him, it's a little, you know, different, because if he wants to lose weight, he just stops drinking soda and he loses 30 pounds, you know? But me, on the other hand, I really have to work on it. But more than anything, like, now I feel like we are more like, okay, we're gonna go out, we don't have to go eat, we don't have to go out like to buy food. Like now it's like, okay, let's make something, or you know what, I like that thing you made, let's make that again. It's more, we talk more, I feel we get along more.
It's like getting creative too, you know, and like now too, like just simple things that we do that I've never done. Like I've gone kayaking, like what, you know, or like we went to, you live in Bakersfield, right?
Bakersfield.
Okay. Yeah. Have you ever been down to like San Diego area or like LA or no?
Like yes, definitely.
Yeah. So like, yeah, we went to Venice. I've never been to Venice. Yeah. It was the first time I've ever gone.
Oh, really?
I'm more like, I was born in San Diego, so I'm more like a San Diego girl. So like going to LA, you know, is different, but we wanted to do something for my husband's 30th birthday. And we went and like just riding bikes, like I would never. You know, it's like those little moments and you're so thankful for them, and you kind of just sit there and you're like, I'm really doing this, you know? Yeah. And it's crazy because like I get emotional. Like there's days where I'm sitting there and like something that I'm doing that I didn't do, and I'm like, I'm really doing this right now. You know what I mean? It's so weird.
I completely understand that, because I remember like now like more clothes are fitting, and I remember my husband, he told me like I was going through my clothes and stuff, just kind of seeing what I'm gonna kind of keep right now and talk about her. And he told me like, oh, there's this dress whenever we were dating, he's like, oh, does it still fit you? And I told him, yeah, it does. And he was like, oh, okay, like why didn't you throw it out? I saw like a bunch of dresses, and I was like, I just can't part ways from this dress. You know, like it still fits me, I'm still gonna use it. And I told him like, you know, whenever it comes to like that dress, it didn't fit me for 2 years and now it does again, and I am so happy that it does, because like you said, it's those little moments. Like I remember also before, you know, obviously my surgery in February, we went to Disneyland, and I remember we got on a ride, and it was so tight. It was like incredibly tight.
What ride was it?
I think it was like Goofy's, like it was in California Adventure. It was like Goofy's Flying School or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And I remember we got on it, and I remember I was so like, it was so tight in that ride. And even my husband, like my poor husband, he was like kind of to the side, and I knew that he didn't want to like make me feel bad or anything, but I knew I didn't enjoy it because I knew that he was kind of like just pressed, you know, like I was so overweight, I was so big that I was like literally taking up almost 2 seats. And whenever I saw that, I was like I wanted to get off and just kind of like hide, you know. I kind of got into like a bad mood after that, because I was like, man, I can't believe, you know, like I just didn't fit. Even though I got on the ride, I was able to do it, but you know when you're uncomfortable, you know, and it's not the best position.
I've experienced 2 situations like that where I went to SeaWorld and there was a ride, a roller coaster, and it's the ones where you pull down.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't closing. And this one, I wasn't even at my heaviest. I think I was like 250. This was years ago. And it was me, my dad, and my brother. And like I told you, my dad is a normal size. And it didn't close. And he was like, and the guy was like, it's not closed. Like the worker was like, I'm sorry, it's not closing. And my dad's like, it fits, sit up. Because I kind of slouch. So I'm like, okay. So I like sat up, and he like closed it, and it closed. But it literally was so tight that the whole ride, I'm like, this thing is just going to pop open, you know, like what the heck. That experience. And then one time I went to Universal Studios, and it was the Jurassic Park ride, and you sit on, I don't know if you've ever been there, but you sit on it's like a 1 row, and I think it fits like 4 or 5 people. So sometimes you get on with other people, right? And it was like little kids, so it's 1 bar for everyone. So when you pull the bar down, it's gonna stop at whoever's the biggest, right? So it stopped on me, and then I hear the little kid like telling the mom like, the bar is super far. And I looked, and it was like, that kid was not protected at all. Like it literally had so much room because it stopped at me. And I was like, what the heck? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like those moments that you feel horrible.
You do. Like I remember after that ride, I was like in such a bad mood, because I was like, oh my God, like I felt like crap, you know, you feel horrible. And you know, like, but in that time I was already going through the process, and I was like, I don't want to ever feel like this again, you know, like I don't want to ever feel like this again. I felt like this my entire life. I've always been the bigger friend, I've always been the bigger girl, I've always been that girl, you know. So
and tell me if you disagree, but like, did you kind of own it? Like you were kind of like, I'm that person. It is what it is.
Like honestly I did, because I've never known any different. That's the thing. Like I know a lot of people, like they
like
grow
up weight.
They gain the weight. Me, I've always been in that.
Oh, like even like as a kid, like elementary.
Yeah, like I've always been the big kid. Like all of my pictures, I am big. I am a big kid. And I remember like my mom would just always be like, well, you're just bigger. Like, you know, what can we do?
You're big boned or you're whatever.
Big boned.
Did you play sports growing up at all? Did you play any sports?
I did. I played sports, but it wasn't like, the thing with me is that I would lose the weight, but it would come right back out. Like I really had to, like, I was insulin resistant. I had a lot of issues growing up as far as, you know, that goes. But so I mean, I think honestly it was all forming up until now that I'm 24. Like finally my body was like, hey, you need to make some changes.
And you're still so young. So I'm like so happy, like, you know, because like I said, I mean, I literally feel like I can't believe I'm 29, number one.
No, you don't even look 29.
No, but it's just crazy to me because like I remember being 24 and like it's so funny. I have a little brother, he's 11, and we have like this joke, like when I turn 26, 27, 28, 29, it would always be like, I'm 25, okay? So like now, like on my birthday, he'll be like, happy 25th birthday. And I'm like, thanks, you know? But it just goes by so fast. And it's like, I'm so happy you got it at that age because you still have so much, you know? And it's just crazy because before I didn't realize how much my weight stopped me until now, until I'm actually living how I always wanted to live, if that makes sense, you know? Yeah. And it's like, wow, like I was always a very confident person. My parents raised me and my sister like that, always outgoing, always the loudest one in the room. But now it's like, I really feel comfortable with myself versus before it was kind of like, yeah, I loved myself. I always loved myself, but it was still like, wow, like I'm really this big, you know? And when I look at pictures, I'm like, I was that big. And even my husband, he literally, because I'm always like, why did you never tell me anything? He's like, Paulina, I did not see you like that. I literally did not see you like that. And then you posted before and after, and I'm like, that was a year ago. Like I posted the pictures of our anniversary last July, and we were both huge. My husband lost 90 pounds since surgery.
Wow.
Like, it's insane because we literally would eat out every single day.
Every day.
Like, every day. You know?
And you see with that, like, I totally understand that because whenever we got married, whenever my husband and I got married, I remember he went up to, he's always been in like the 190s. That's like his perfect spot. That's where he wants to be. And I remember whenever I was 277, he was 230. He got up to like almost 240 around there. And I remember there was a time where even he was like, you know, I don't like feeling this way. Like I've never been this big. You feel crappy, like you really do. And I remember he was like, I'm gonna get on a low keto, like a low carb diet. And so he started doing keto, and he lost all the weight. Right now he's at 195. He's so happy because he did that. And you know, like I'm really proud of him because he actually, you know, did it, and he was consistent. And you know, like that's the thing, when you don't feel your best, you're not your best towards other people, just like you said.
Just for anything, like your work day, like anything, you know, anything, like anything would piss me off, you know. I mean, it could be as simple as like my gas, like I'm running out of gas, right? And I was like, oh, like it was just a huge deal. Because now I'm like, all right, I need to get gas. Like, and that's just an example because those are things that happen in our life, you know. Exactly. But I used to get so mad, and then when you think about like, wait, you're saying you got mad of your gas tank being empty because of your weight, but I just feel like it all connected. It was just mood.
I understand that completely because whenever I was bigger, I remember I felt so like self-conscious about everything, like every little thing. Like I remember like this person looked at me funny, like why is he looking at me funny, like that's so weird,
and know? They might not even be looking at you because
they don't even care. They don't care. Or like yes, or like even unfortunately, like I hate like admitting it, but I would always be like, why is this person talking to like my husband? Like,
because
she's so pretty, and like why can't, you know, like in my head I'd be like, you know, why can't like I dress up like that? You know, like I would really kind of hate on people, and it sucks. Like I hate even admitting it, but it's.
And you would say, I know, and thank you for sharing it because it's so true. You would look at someone where you know it was a cute outfit, and you'd be like, why? She's not. Why is she not classy? Like,
yes,
all right, you know. And it's I completely get it, and it's like such a natural thing, and when you think about it now, like you said, it is kind of like, I can't believe I thought like that. But
it is like
you're not the only one.
Now, I did too. Yeah, like I think about it now and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so dumb. Like, why did I even think that way? Like, he's not, you know, like this is my husband. Like, I live with this guy, you know,
exactly.
I mean, now I'm just glad that I'm in a much healthier place. I'm glad that.
And you're only 5 weeks. And see, this is, I love this because you're only 5 weeks, and look at, I can just see like a light, like you're glowing and you're so excited, and you're only 5 weeks. And I remember myself at 5 weeks and how amazing I felt. And like, I can't even begin to describe to you how you're going to feel at like your 3 months, at like your months, and then like your night, like I remember in the beginning, every month is huge, like huge things are happening, right? And then like later, like me, when I hit my 10 month, that's the weight that I've been at my 10 months post-op. And then it's kind of like, but then it's later, it's different things. It's more like non-scale victories, you know? And especially because of COVID, we haven't been able to be like, let's go ride all the roller coasters, or like, you know, all of those things that you want to do that COVID is stopping us from doing right now is when we're really going to be like, oh my gosh, you know, I got to go to Knott's Berry Farm when like right before COVID, I went, it's so sad, but we were actually there the day that Kobe died. And it was so intense. And this is totally off topic, but it was so intense because I mean, it's LA County, and it's
everybody felt that.
Exactly. And we were in the line for Ghost Rider, and it was just silent. Like, it was the most depressing thing. And it was before we heard about his daughter.
Yeah.
And before we got onto the roller coaster, we heard about his daughter, and it was the most depressing, like, I just remember it. But anyways, that was the day that I got to ride the roller coasters, and it was so crazy.
Yeah. It's honestly a journey, but I'm honestly glad that you're sharing your journey, because whenever you started posting stuff and you started, like, I found your videos, I was like, I was like on a marathon. I remember I was like, when is she posting next? When is she posting next? Because I was honestly on the same journey as you were. I mean, I wasn't far along like you were, but it's like I was literally preparing myself for the same thing, and that's why I was like, okay, let me just do this. And I remember actually whenever you posted the one with your husband, you guys did and my husband was still kind of like not really like on board with the whole idea even then. So I remember we watched it together, and I was like, I want you to watch this. Like, you know, this is kind of how he thinks. Like, maybe, you know, you can see how he, you know.
Yeah. And I really wanted to do that just because, you know, I mean, that's such an important part of, you know, I've talked to people that are single, that are dating, that are in relationships, whatever. But I feel like if you're married, and it's scary, and I'm sure you know the statistics of divorce after surgery, which terrified me. It terrified me, really. Because, you know, I feel like we were happy, but now it's like on a whole other level that I can't even describe. And it's like, it's for the better, you know. Of course, in the beginning, like, it was hard, and, you know, he would just remind me, like, it's just right now, you know. But I feel like your spouse being on board is so important.
It's so important.
I don't even know what to say when people tell me, like, it's hard for me when someone messages me and tells me, like, my husband's not for it, or like he's being super negative, or like whatever, because I can't relate to that because I don't have that. So sometimes I don't know what to tell them. I just tell them that it's so important for them to be on the same page, but I don't know how to get someone's husband on their same, you know what I mean? It's hard.
They'll come around.
Exactly.
You know, but also I understand what you say, because I was also very, very scared. Like right before I had the surgery, even like whenever I was going through the process in the initial stages, I remember I saw like a Facebook post, and somebody said like, oh yeah, like, you know, unfortunately, you know, we separated, and I would be so terrified. I'm like, I really hope that is not me. Even though like I have a great relationship with my husband. I love my husband very, very much. And I love our relationship that we have. But even then that scared me because I was thinking like, you know, what does that mean? Like, does that mean like I'm gonna go through that? Like, it doesn't mean we're gonna have issues. Like, you know, I did think about that a lot, but at the same time, especially because, you know, we kind of had a little bit of disagreements with that, I was even more scared. But I think that's the time where like communication is so important. Like with me, like I told him like, it's not that I don't love you. I love you completely, but this is for me. I need to do this for me.
And if I feel like just in general, and like I'm not a marriage, you know, counselor, but I literally feel like in general, any big event, right, or big decision, I feel like, yes, it's the communication part, right? And then it's them understanding why it's so important to you because, and that's with anything, with a new job, with a, you know, a career change, whatever, you have to be supportive. I mean, it is what it is, you know?
It is. And like, on top of that, like, I remember I told him, like, I'm not asking you to get it. Like, I'm not getting a boob job. Like, I'm not doing
it's
this.
Like you're a help. Yeah.
I told him, like, I'm not getting a BBL. Like, I'm not doing any of that. I'm not getting, which completely, like, I'm okay with, you know, whoever gets it, like, that boo-boo. But for me, I told him, like, this is not that kind of surgery. For me, this is because of my health. And because of my health, I can't, you know, I want to get it. Yeah. And I think he kind of understood a little bit more. But now he's super supportive. Like, he sees the changes and even he's pretty amazed with it. So I'm just happy that I got it done.
Yeah, and it's only gonna get better. Like I said, I can't wait. And like, I always tell the girls that I haven't had a guy on my podcast, and I want to actually.
Hey, there you go.
I feel like it'll be so different, you know, just because I mean, a guy's perspective is different. But anyways, the girls that I've had on just, I don't know, like everyone's story is like so different. And like, I just love hearing like literally every week. I don't feel like it's repetitive because I feel like everyone has a different, you know, like people have woken up from surgery, like, okay, let's walk. And then like us, where we're like, you know, I don't want to walk. So I think it's like super, super cool. But, and I know you have no regrets at all.
No, not a single one. I am completely happy with my choice that I made to have this surgery. It literally has been life-changing for me, especially whenever you have a bunch of conditions like I did. I had like a bunch of stuff, and I am happy with my decision so far.
So exciting. What goals do you have? Like, I mean, obviously to lose weight, but what goals do you have? Like, where do you see yourself in a year?
In a year? Well,
it's gonna go by so fast. So right now, like a year, but no, or even like short term, like a couple months, like your 6-month post-op. Like what goals do you have for yourself?
Well, I definitely want to, this is the time to really focus on not only my weight, but like mental health as well. I have anxiety. I've always had anxiety. I've always been a very anxious person. Okay. But my goal is to really focus on my weight loss, focus on my nutrition. Definitely, I want to focus on continuing going to therapy. And I just, honestly, I want to get down to, like, my goal weight is 160 pounds. That's what I have always kind of thought, like, okay, this is what I want. My surgeon, on the other hand, he's like, 130. That's what I want you at.
Really?
I'm like, 130.
Yeah, I love that you share that, because there's other, like my surgeon, when I asked him what his goal weight is for me, he says he didn't have one. He said, he's like, if I give you the chart, you know, like the chart with like the weight and the height, he was like, I could tell you to be 115, 120. Are you going to be that? No. And then he's like, just looking at you, like, you know, my legs, I played soccer. So like my legs are muscular, you know? And he was like, if you're 120, he's like, you're not going to look healthy, you know? But that's why, so other doctors do give a number, you know?
Yeah, he was like, 130 is like the goal for you. And I'm like, I don't, like, I mean, I think it's because I've never been below 200 that to me it's like, I don't want to be that skinny, right? But so to me, honestly, if I even make it to 160, I am completely happy with that.
Because like I'm at 160 and I feel amazing. And sometimes it's so weird because sometimes I'll take a picture and I feel like my face is too skinny. So it's just so weird. Like I have my days where I'm like, ugh. And then I have my other days where I'm like, you're too skinny. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah.
You know, it's just weird. And I told myself 150, but I think like with the skin removal, I think I will get there.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm not dropping more weight. My body is comfortable and I still eat really good and I still track and everything, but I have not dropped a pound in 4 months. So
yeah. Well, I honestly, with the skin removal surgery, I've heard like a lot of people, like literally what they take off is it's a lot, you know? So
it could be like 10, 15 pounds.
Yeah, easily. So honestly, if you have that, like you'll be at 150, like no problem. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because sometimes I'm like hard on myself and I'm like, I need to lose 20 pounds. And then I'm like, Paulina, you're not, like, your body is comfortable. And like, you know, and my doctor even told me your body will kind of like mellow out and know where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I understand that now. So
yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. I was going to ask you, I always ask this. Well, I've been asking it. What advice would you give to someone that's like, it's like the night before and they're freaking out? What would you tell them?
I think what I would tell them is everything's going to be okay. And yes, the first week is probably the hardest.
Yeah.
But, you know, but that's for everyone. That's every single person that's gotten this done.
It's a surgery. It's not anything like real quick, you know, it's a surgery.
But I also think, like, the way I thought right before my surgery was, if it's not this now, later on, I assure you it's going to be a lot of other things, because obesity, being obese, being unhealthy, being overweight, that is itself hard. And I assure you that it's not, you getting the surgery is not going to be as hard as you going through all those issues. And I say that firsthand because I experienced a lot of things myself.
Yeah.
That now that I look at it, I was like, wow, like I'm so happy that I got this done, you know? So I would tell that person, don't freak out. You're going to do great. Just continue doing what your surgeon said to do and you'll be fine. You'll be okay.
Yeah. And I think that's so important, is listening to your surgeon.
Yes.
I know there's so many people that were like, I've seen people drink alcohol at like 4 months, and I'm like, you know, I'm no one to judge, but that's not on your thing. And like me, I was very to the T. I followed everything. Yeah. My first year, I mean, I'm 14 months, but like my first year, there was like, people are like, did you cheat? Did you? I'm like, no, I did not. I did not, because my doctor told me 1,000 times, this is your once in a lifetime chance. This is the year that if you mess it up, that's it. Like, this is the most extreme you can go with.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I feel, because whenever I'm on a bunch of Facebook groups, right? And I follow a bunch of them just because you know, everybody shares their experiences, and I like watching everybody's, you know, progress. And I remember a lot of people would be like, at two weeks post-op, can I eat bread? Can I eat this? Or can I eat that? And I'm like, you got this surgery for a reason. Like, I didn't cheat like at all on my liquid diet, because I said it to myself, like, if I cheat on this liquid diet, I am not ready to have the surgery.
And that's what we're talking about, is being ready. And like, and you can talk about it more, because I don't go to therapy. Did you always do therapy, or was this something since you started your journey? Or
I started going to therapy at the beginning of this year more than anything. Before I had anxiety as well, but it got really bad at the beginning of the year, because at my work, somebody came in with a gun and started shooting up the place. And I work at a healthcare facility, and my anxiety got really, really bad, to the point where, like, going out in public, I had to take off time from work, because going out in public, just being around a lot of people, triggered it. And I
can't imagine.
Yeah, honestly, it really, like, it made my anxiety go from like 0 to 100. I already had anxiety, but I wasn't on any medication. And I remember whenever I got on, whenever I started getting panic attacks, they would feel like heart attacks. Like, I've never had a heart attack, but it felt like that. I felt like if that was a heart attack, that's what it is.
I get that, because my sister struggles with anxiety also. And I don't think she'd mind me sharing this. I told her I've talked about anxiety on my podcast, but there was one time where she thought she was at work and she called me. I'm really close to my sister. We're a couple years apart and we're best friends. And she texted me and she literally thought she was having a heart attack where she's like, I'm calling the ambulance. Like, and she got taken to the hospital and they had to show her, she got an EKG and everything. They had to show her, Jessica, like your heartbeat is fine. It was an anxiety attack. So, you know, and I was very naive with anxiety. I didn't understand it. And I hate to admit it, but I was the type of person that when she would tell me that she felt a certain way, because I don't struggle with it, I don't know. And I would tell her like, dude, snap out of it. And she'd be like, dude, I can't snap out of it, you know? And with my sister really struggling with it in the last couple of years, I've done a lot of research, so I understand it a lot more. And it like you're saying, the description of a heart attack, that's what people feel. And it's
exactly. And honestly, whenever like I started getting that, like I remember like my mom, she would be like, why are you anxious? Like you have nothing to be anxious for. You have a great life. And I'm like, I know I have a great life, but at the same time, it's something I cannot control. Like we would be out like in public, like I wouldn't even be out like outside of the car, and then just seeing so many people, it would make me so anxious that I would go and I would have to cry. Like I had to cry.
But what you like through, that's extreme.
And honestly, like I hate how kind of like in like Mexican culture or like the Hispanic culture, I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions about mental health. It's so important to have help. And sometimes a lot of people think like, oh, you're seeing a therapist, like, oh, you must be crazy. Or, oh, you're seeing a therapist, like you must have depression or something. Or like, you know, you're probably like bipolar or something. And
you're like you're being dramatic.
Yes, exactly.
And you know, I'm Hispanic too, and I know that 100%. And it's it's a thing where it's like, oh, like or like she's sick, like she's seeing a therapist.
Yeah,
like,
she's sick.
It's not that. Like,
yeah, it's exactly that. Like I would like whenever I started seeing a therapist, like it really helped me a lot. And whenever I started my medication, I know a lot of people were like, no, take natural remedies, take teas, like this helps a lot better. Or like, no, you don't need medication. No, I needed medication, and I'm so happy that I ended up listening to like my doctor and I got on medication. Because then ever since what, like I want to say March was when I started my medication.
And it's life-changing, hasn't it?
Life-changing. Like I've only had one panic attack since then. And compared to the like
I literally
I would have a day, like
I feel like I'm talking to my sister.
Oh,
like this is literally like her life in the last couple of years. Like my sister sees a therapist weekly and she's so open about it, and it's weekly, like she cannot miss, like you know, really, really helps her. And honestly, our family was also like, no medication, like no, as soon as you take medication you're gonna, you know. And she did start her medication, and she's like, it's extreme and it's crazy. I remember when she first got on it, I don't know what medication she's on, but I remember when she first got on it, her doctor told her like the first 2 weeks are gonna be rough. And I remember it clear as day. I was like checking up on her because I was sick to my stomach.
Yeah,
because it was so bad. But now it's extreme. Like my sister was not my sister for a couple of months. It was really, really scary.
And it has to get, unfortunately, like, you know, that's just how the medication works, that it does have to get worse before it gets better. And yes, like, you know, you do have to go through quite a bit before you get better. But honestly, it's been life-changing for me, and I don't think there's anything wrong with getting help, especially if, you know, you're not being heard all the way. It's so incredibly important. Mental health, like I will never, ever judge anybody. Like before I started the whole therapy, or before I even went through this whole experience, I used to be like, anxiety is like, yeah, I have anxiety, but I'm fine. Like I'll be fine. You know, or like sometimes I would hear people say like, oh yeah, like I, you know, have really bad anxiety. And I'd be like, I have anxiety too, you know? But now that I went through something so like crazy, I told my husband, it really made me reconsider like the way I saw everything and the way I see people. And I will never, ever, ever judge anybody especially for mental health reasons. Like never.
No, and thank you for sharing that. That's like a huge thing to share and super personal. And you know, someone watching this, you know, there's a lot of people that struggle with anxiety and they don't think their family is telling them, don't take medicine, don't do therapy, you know, you're weak if you do therapy. Like I've heard all of those comments, and like I said, I don't go to therapy, but it's something that I've been considering, just because, you know, I didn't have a huge event happen like you did. But what I also want to share to people is that you don't have to go through a huge event like that to see a therapist. You know, you can even go through just like your daily stressors and you don't know how to deal with it. And like, you know, and earlier we talked about food addiction and how to deal with, you know, before it was like, I'm so stressed out, I'm going to like stuff my face, you know, and it's like, even it sounds so dumb, like, oh, I'm addicted to food, but 100% I'm addicted to food. Even though I'm 160 pounds, it doesn't mean that I'm not addicted to food, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy. And I feel like this is for life, you know? I think some people look at me and they're like, you did it. You lost 160 pounds. But I feel like it's just the beginning. Now it's, am I going to gain my weight back? Am I going to be 304 pounds again? It can happen.
It 100%. Can. Yeah.
And I see it now. And I used to think like, how do people just gain it all back? Just how I gained it all in the first place, you know? Like it happened.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's crazy, but I mean, we can talk forever. Is there anything that you want to share to wrap up? We've already been talking for an hour and like 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh,
it always happens, and I love it because this happens every time. People ask me like, how long is it? And I'm like, well, I shoot for like an hour, and they're like, an hour, that's a long time. I'm like, I promise you, it will go so fast. And like, I've never, all of them have been at least an hour. So wow. Yeah, because I didn't even get to the questions. You see what I mean? So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't most of the time I don't. I like to ask just in case, you know, it slows down, but it doesn't. It never does. Yeah, like
it never does.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to like share or like say to anyone that's watching, or anything that you want to say to wrap up?
No, I think we went over
about a lot.
Yeah, we did. I think we went over a lot, and honestly, I'm so happy that you invited me on. I'm happy to be here, and yeah, like I can't wait to continue seeing your journey.
I can't wait to see your journey. And I always tell everyone too, like, I would love to have you on at like your 6 month or a year, like,
yeah,
to see your growth, you know? Yeah, like you're so early in your journey, and I'm super excited for you. And message me whenever you know that. You can message me whenever. But other than that, this will be up next week, so I can't wait for you to see it.
Sounds good. I'm excited.
All right, girly. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching, as always. Briana, thank you so much for being so open with your journey and just sharing all of the struggles in your life and all of the accomplishments so far with surgery. You were glowing, and I just see how excited you are, and it's just the beginning, like I told you. So keep going, try super hard every single day, and I am here. Message me whenever you need. I can't wait to see you on my podcast again at 6 months or a year. I can't wait to just see your story unfold. Enjoy every moment, and you got this. As always, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching or for listening. If you guys haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment down below, and you guys, like always, have a beautiful rest of your week. Bye.